Hey guys, welcome back to Karan's Cuisine. And since Diwali is right around the corner, I'll be making a Diwali special, which is going to be a Gujarati sweet dish named Mohanthal. For this recipe, you're going to need 2 cups of besan, 1 cup of ghee, melted ghee or clarified butter, and this I made myself, and 1 cup of sugar, 3/4 cup of water, 3/4 cup of warm milk, and some nuts for decorating. Okay, let's get started. For the first step, you're going to mix 3 tablespoons of ghee and 3 tablespoons of milk into your basin. First, add the ghee. Mix it lightly until it's all coated, but don't knead it. Now it's time to put the milk in a little bit at a time. I'm done mixing, and look at this crumbly consistency with just a little chunks. This is how it's supposed to be. So now we can cover it with the lid and set aside for about 5 minutes. It's been 6 minutes, and now I'm gonna turn my stove on and put it on medium-low. And while this is heating, I can work on grinding my besan. I've transferred my besan mixture into this grinding container, and now I'm gonna pulse it for 3 times, 1 second each. Now it's like super crummy, and the crumbs are really small, so I can put it back on my pan with the ghee. To speed up the process, put the ghee on first, and then you want to let it heat for like 1 to 2 minutes, and then put your besan on. My pan is on medium-low, and I heated my oil, so now I'm gonna put the besan in. Now just mix it all. Keep mixing, don't stop stirring it, and you can see that it's getting like fluffy and airy within like 30 seconds to a minute. And if you didn't heat up your ghee, it would take about 5 minutes. So I really recommend doing that. Been about 7 to 8 minutes of me stirring it, and you can see it's like bubbling up. So this is the time that you would normally add food color if you want it, but I don't want to add food color because I want a brown color like a Parle G biscuit or like my skin color, and that will be achieved by just stirring it for another like 5 minutes. It's been about 12 minutes, and I'm still just waiting until it's really brown so that I can take it off and just keep stirring. But you can see how bubbly this is, and just have to stir it for like 2 more minutes. Okay. It's been about 18 to 20 minutes, and I finally got the brown color that I want, and now I can move it to an off part of the stove and just keep stirring because the pan is still hot and you don't want it to stick to the bottom. So just do this for 2 to 3 minutes. And I'm preparing a sugar syrup as well. Cook this on medium to medium high. And you just want it to be on a 1.5 string consistency once it's done. And I'll tell you how to test that later. It's kind of hard doing both of them at the same time. Okay. Well, this is done, so we can put it aside. Once you've set that aside, just focus on your sugar syrup. Keep mixing it until the sugar dissolves. All the sugar is dissolved, so just add like a pinch of saffron strands like this, And you could also add elaichi, also known as cardamom powder. But I don't have that in my home, so I'm just putting the saffron and let this boil for about 5 to 10 minutes. It's been about 5 minutes and I've just been stirring and it's almost there. And you just have to keep stirring, not as vigorously as the besan mixture, but just so that the bubbles don't rise too much and come out. I think it's time to test it. So just grab a little bit and hit it against the side. And you should see that like the drops are turning into strings, sort of, when they're coming out. And the last drop especially, it'll like string out. So that's happening here. And like another way to test it is to put it in like put a few drops in a small container like this. Don't touch it right away because it's gonna be hot. Then blow on it. Okay, now just take a little bit and put your hands, and you can see it's like forming like one small string. So that means it's not ready yet because we need like 1.5 strings. So we just have to cook it for like 2 to 3 more minutes. And you can see that it's like forming a string like this, and there's like a second string that's trying to form, and it like merges into the first one. That means that it's ready. So now we can take this off the heat. I want it like a cake and chewy, so I'm using 1.5 string. And just on this one on about medium low. And you want to directly pour your hot sugar syrup into it. And then pour the milk in right away. After 2 minutes, it started to bubble up. So just mix it a little and then turn off the stove and set it aside for a few minutes. Okay, while this was cooling, I got a container ready and I lined it with butter and then put parchment paper on top so that it doesn't stick. And now I can just add my Mohanthal to this and then put the nuts on. Now I put the nuts on. Almonds and pistachios. Now it's time to cool it, and you can use a water bath, which I'm using, and it'll be cooled in about 2 to 3 hours. But if you can't do a water bath or you're patient and have time, you can just air dry it for 6 to 8 hours. I'm using a water bath because I really want to taste this. And now we wait for a few hours. Okay, I took it out of this container and I like pushed in the edges, and you can see that it's like not too soft or too hard. It's like perfect, and it's also like crummy on the edges, and that was achieved by the first step that we did. And I'm gonna like cut it into small squares. Okay, now I can taste my sweets. It's chewy and like crumbly at the same time, and has a really good like milky taste to it. And I hope you try this recipe for Diwali. Like and subscribe.